warning to our listeners, this episode contains references to acts deemed to be obscene or sexual in nature or otherwise offensive.
Like a new disease, you wanna warn, but this ain't TV. We come in by forced entry, the mugs from backwater Brizzy.
Hello and welcome to the Why Work podcast series. You are listening to Trajce, Sara and Alan Girl.
Oh, we're reflecting on episode 2.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Where are you?
Well, I don't know. Let's find out.
You're on a road to nowhere.
Work travel, things that go awry, all right? When you're talking about...
Don't hold on to the lights.
Don't hold on to light fixtures, and do you need to give warnings about rigorous sex during work travel, right?
One of our listeners, can I interject, hasn't put this in any of the chats or anything. One of the listeners really enjoyed that episode. And she said this: you are off on a journey, you're going to a hotel, it wouldn't be the first time somebody would hook up with someone else. Why didn't the establishment know or ought to have known to reinforce the light fittings? Because the likelihood...
What?
And I thought, what a novel... Piqued my interest. If you think about it...
What would you advertise on that basis?
No, it's just...
light fixtures
are solid brass fittings.
Double enforced.
No, just simply say solid light fittings.
Good for work travel. Good for work travel. No, you know what's interesting is that hotel has since been renovated. Those light fixtures against the bedboard are gone anymore.
No more cheap fittings.
No more cheap.
But wasn't it interesting in the story though? Like it was almost like, oh, duh.
Yeah.
It's a given, and it was tongue in cheek, but there was an element of objectivity to her statement.
Right?
She said, well. Yeah, inferring that's what I do.
In all there is a serious aspect there in that.
Think about it, reinforced light.
For any accommodation provider, particularly on holiday accommodation, it's likely that there will be some bedroom activities. Maybe not as rigorous as was in that case, but there'll still be bedroom activities.
If you advertise
the bed has to be strong enough.
All right.
The
honeymoon suite. If you say I am,
you wouldn't want the mirrors falling off the ceiling.
I'm letting the honeymoon suite. I think that's a fair comment by one of our listeners. You think about it. You would not want the mirrors or the light fittings or door frames.
Door frames
too. Wow.
Right.
Wow.
I don't know why.
What are you hanging from? What are you hanging
Whoa. You heard it first here, folks.
I was on a work trip in Kazakhstan, in eastern Kazakhstan, right? Ridder, right?
Did you just say rigor?
Ridder. Not rigor, not like rigor, like we were talking about Ridder.
Full of rigor?
No. This is the town, this is the area.
Riga. No, that's not.
Outside of Ust-Kamenogorsk. Oh. You can correct my pronunciation.
Ust-Kamenogorsk, yes.
Okay.
Not Riga, R-I-G-A.
No. Kazakhstan, right?
Yeah.
Did I ever imagine myself in Kazakhstan for work? No. Never in mind. In fact, I used to laugh. My father went to Kazakhstan for mining work, and I used to go, you're going where as a kid?
What were you doing in Kazakhstan? I know you
mining.
said
I was doing work design analysis in Kazakhstan, underground mining, all right? Metalliferous underground mining.
That was a great job.
It was a great job, right? Okay.
So, what were the minerals, can I ask? Sorry, I'm just intrigued. What are you looking for?
What they were looking for? Zinc.
Yeah. Cool.
Yep.
Sorry,
I can't give all the company names, so just metalliferous mine, shall we say, all right?
I need to know.
And zinc and other such stuff.
Okay.
I was looking at work design systems, okay, underground mining, you know.
Sworn to Soviet secrecy.
And it was full on. I was going, down these areas, and it made me think about where does everyone, where do you go to the loo? Anyway, underground mining, I had...
How do you say that in Russian? I'll find out.
Yeah, all I learned was spasibo.
Thank you.
Yeah,
spasibo.
That's all I could say all the time. And I had little Australian gifts to give to everyone to keep people happy, and me too. Right?
You would say, Здравствуйте, Harashivo, Sevo, Harashivo.
I love it.
I did Russian at uni.
My mom did Russian. Her secret job was to be like a CIA. She dreamed of this. She,
Yes.
alter ego wannabe. She was fluent in Russian.
But she never got the job.
She became
that
a
you
great
could tell
chef
us.
and a great mom.
There
Yeah,
you
not
go.
that I know of. Maybe
she-
I thought she was good mom and grandma. Maybe she had her alter job I don't know about.
Yes,
Oh.
if you've watched The Americans,
Gosh, that would be so
fantastic
cool.
show. The
I thought she was
Americans.
baking chocolate chip cookies. Anyway, okay, so I'm in Kazakhstan, right?
Morse code. You hear this tap, tap, tap on the kitchen bench, you know it's a Morse code or something.
And the interpreter or the translator was excellent. We became really good friends. So
Svetlana?
But I met Svetlana there. I met her in Almaty, in the capital of Kazakhstan, the other side of the country. The Svetlana, my secret alter ego name,
yes.
right? I love Svetlana. Wonderful woman and wonderful name. Fantastic. Okay, but no, not yet. Not Svetlana yet. So I'm in Kazakhstan. I'm in this mining trip. The guys start getting a little more, hey, let's drink vodka, okay? And they go into the saunas. And you're already dehydrated. They're drinking vodka. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm going to give that a miss. So my translator and I did yoga. I taught the translator some yoga. And in fact, it was beautiful because she now teaches yoga. And she started teaching yoga to the miners before she ended up leaving Kazakhstan. She's in Denmark now.
So cool.
But that shared the love of yoga. But before we got there, she was excellent. She would give me inside scoops. So somebody's talking about anything and I might be thinking I'm in a good exchange of ideas and she would be explaining their English properly and then she would slip in the slider. It says, he thinks that idea is complete bullshit, by the way. So we'd be smiling and nodding. So at the same time, she protected me. One night I got there. There was one gentleman who could not speak a shred of English, and I found at my doorstep was a plate of fruit, grapes, cheese, and chocolate. She explained to me that was his offer. He apparently had knocked on my door to try and invite a little association. Yeah. With the
friendship,
the Western woman to see, to taste Western wares, shall we say?
Yes,
that did not happen.
true.
There were no light fixtures falling off.
No,
just for the record,
no.
but I'm going to tell you, Kazakhstani chocolate is so good. Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
it is
but
so
see,
good.
That's a really good example of working remotely overseas.
Vulnerabilities that arise, right? And my translator was able to say to me, "Watch this one. Married 4 times. ... She gave me the little inside scoop, right? But I didn't even know that the door had been knocked on.
Was the fruit any good? Was the grapes?
I just remember the chocolate. The chocolate was so good. Cheese is good there too.
So it's okay that you accepted the fruit, but you didn't. Obviously, that was okay.
I noticed it hours later. It was sitting there at the door. I didn't deal with the knock.
What do you want you to do? Go take the fruit
and say, "Hey, come on in. Come on in, baby. Thanks for fruit." Except all I could say is spasiba. So that was it.
That's it. Oh, yes. See, but
нет. That's it.
Talk about that, but I suspect that happens quite a lot where
I've been going. We're like work
female
travel.
professionals or male professionals for that matter doing jobs like you were doing, and then they get approached by one of the workers.
The inhibition, the boundaries that erode during work travel. I've been on trips. Hey, what happens in this country stays in this country. I'm like, I don't want to know anything. I'm going back to my room. Thanks.
But you know, you don't need to have extreme stories of even going to exotic locations like Uzbekistan or Kazakhstan, or you could simply read you just have to read the recent reports relating to the mining industry to know about the plight of female workers at remote sites, fly in, fly out scenarios, and the harassment that these workers
have so many
had
stories
to endure.
I could share with you.
It's in a report.
I'm a fairly forthright kind of woman that stands up for herself, and I've been out where I've been looking at a job in mining. There are so many stories, but this one just comes to mind. And I was looking at some potential work in the border of Queensland and Northern Territory at this mine. And while they're doing this tour, the safety guy goes, they were talking about the king brown snakes. You had to watch king brown snakes, what comes up. And the safety guy pops out and goes, "Oh, love, you've only got to look out for the trouser snakes, eh?" I was like, did you just say that? Did you really just say that?
And that's really, and because of the culture. Yeah, and now this code that's coming in, and indeed not just this code, but further you go outside of the city-centric construct. This is where the rubber meets the road. When you're out remote and you've got, whether it's...
Depends
that's
very
gonna be
much on the business.
That's going to be the challenge. Well, Sarah's just given me an example. She's in a remote region.
I agree.
And I'm telling you will never iron that person's attitude out. It's wired. They'll continue to say that. That'll be the challenge for the code. Can they prevent that type of behaviour once you're outside of Brisbane, outside of the safety of the city?
I think you can.
Guys, I've had senior executive level C-suite managers, global, APAC and national say things to me that would surprise you, particularly because I'm just solely in this really, tunneled vision of being so excited about the work and what can be done, and talking about scope, and I'm talking about strategy, and I've had a senior leader say, hey, there are so many opportunities, I can imagine the work here, and I'm getting excited.
You get excited?
And he goes, I can make those referrals happen, what will you do for me?
Wow, it's just like that.
And I go,
just like that.
Just like that. Boom. I go, I'm sorry. I'm not sure I quite understand. Do you want to can you explain that to me a little bit better? And I do the whole innocent. No, I think in this case I played it incredibly well, because I kind of said, we're a really small consultancy niche boutique. I don't really have the potential to give kickbacks, So I interpreted it as though it couldn't be about sex. It would just be financial. If you're asking me for a financial kickback, right? Oh no, that's not what I'm talking about.
I actually think that's harder with the senior executive or chief executive officers. If they feel that they can get away with making those kind of comments, and unfortunately I've worked with someone like that, that's very hard to break, because there's no one that sits above them to discipline them other than the board of directors and the shareholders.
Well, here's what I did in this case, and the hint was dropped like 4 or 5 times, right?
So it's repeated.
And repeated, and said that's not what I'm talking about. Well, I did the whole, I couldn't imagine possibly what you could be speaking about then, because we're certainly not in an opportunity to give you a kickback. I can't really afford to give your global company a discount, so I still kept it as though it had to be something business oriented.
Context of work.
Context that you might be talking about. Then we were about to have a meeting, and I brought in one of my colleagues, a male colleague, to this meeting. The temperament changed. It was all very polite, and I said, right in front of my colleague, so it's interesting, this person just suggested that all kinds of referrals could happen in our business, in these cases, and asked what we can do in return. And I asked my colleague, what do you think that could mean? What can we actually help this person with right in front of them? And you should have seen the face change, because I acted still innocent, as though I couldn't interpret that to being anything other than purely business. And I had no more conflict thereafter, didn't get approached again.
No work. Like
I got one job. It went well, right? But I protected it.
But you shut that down.
I shut this down. But it's awkward, and I pulled someone else into it, and I made it a public, known statement within the first half hour.
So you had absolutely no doubt in your mind that the initial statement was definitely a personal statement and geared towards that.
It was right at the time of the Me Too movement, which was hilarious that could be made right while that news media was coming out.
You knew straight away that that's what he was getting at.
Yeah.
I felt instinctively uncomfortable straight away.
There you go. Yeah.
And isn't it interesting, we're looking more and more at the workplace and about the psychosocial hazards and about just health generally. Those kind of issues we haven't really tackled head on in the past. And so a lot of female professionals have been forced to work out a solution for themselves.
In that situation, I was alone when that person said that to me. And that's why I brought someone else into it.
Yeah, and it so obviously should not happen.
There's always a story. I reflect now. It was obviously a power imbalance, so it was an issue of a more senior person say to the other person, and actually make a direct proposition and say, let's go back to the room. No one needs to know. And the female worker said, well, no one will know. She said, well, yes, my husband will know because I'll have to tell him. But the fact that you've got to really gear up and defend, and in your case, you created like a meeting, a ruse, a strategy. Well, the fact you have to make a strategy in itself is really, really
and most guys
issue.
I speak to have not had that situation.
So what's an employer supposed to do? Female staff out
remote areas, and this is Australia,
areas.
it's a big
should there
country.
be a debrief when they get back? You know, and should men be any different to women, you know, in the same situation?
But it just unfortunately seems to happen, like the majority of these things always will be in that classic
male,
scenario.
female,
Male,
power.
female.
Although I spoke to a mate of mine who does computer programming, and he said this happened once to him in the UK, that he had a pretty aggressive, ambitious female manager who said, "You want your promotion? This has to happen in the bedroom." And I said, "What'd you do?" He goes, "Yeah, I got the promotion."
Look, it's interesting that you say that. This is why it is a complex issue. This is why it's complicated.
And imbalance
You're
the other way
dealing with
around.
them.
He just thought, "Oh, okay, whatever."
See, you're dealing with humans, albeit within that work context setting. In this guy's case,
Quid-pro-quo, isn't that what you call it?
The reason why this is a complex issue, and one response is, don't sort of pussyfoot around it. Have really uncomfortable, hardcore sessions, like the bloke with the trouser snake. You sit them down and you go hard with this and say, this is how it's going to happen. Yeah, and you become prosecutorial. No fluffing about. At the end of the day, you go hard with this.
Well, you're subjecting the business to some real significant exposures, right?
We hope you enjoyed that episode of Why Work. You've been listening to Trajce, Sara and Alan. And if you'd like to know more about some of the things we've talked about today, please subscribe, and we'd be more than happy to provide you with information, names of cases and other things that may interest you. Please be aware that none of the matters we've talked about today should be construed as legal advice or any other type of advice. We're just here to talk about all things related to work. See you next time.
Look, I think you could give better advice than that.
Which is?
I'm waiting, Alan.
Oh, no. You didn't go there. You didn't go there.
Alan.
Let's stop this right now.
All right, let's go to the music.